in the last lecture that I had sent you, we had discussed about how ATP behaves as the energy currency of each cell. In today's lecture, we are going to talk about glycolysis. What is glycolysis? Glycolysis means the breaking of glucose. Glycolysis means breaking of glucose. Now we all know glucose is the most common type of food material, is the basic type of carbohydrate that we consume, and the interesting thing is that the human brain and the RBC can only recognize glucose as its food substance. It cannot recognize anything else as a food substance or a food material. So in today's lecture, we'll basically focus on how the glucose molecule is broken down by subsequent reactions and how we obtain ATP, how we obtain energy in the form of ATP from glucose. Now please note that the glycolytic pathway is common. It's a common pathway in both prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes, and it is also common between aerobic and anaerobic organisms. And where does this glycolysis take place? The glycolysis takes place in the cytoplasm of the cell. Please note that glycolysis can basically be broken down into two basic steps. The first is the preparatory phase, and the second is the payback step. What do we need from glycolysis? We basically need ATP. We are going to break down glucose, and via the breaking down of glucose we need ATP. Okay, so glycolysis is broken down into the preparatory and the payback steps. What do we require in the preparatory phase? The cell basically invests some molecules of ATP. We want ATP, and over here the cell is investing ATP. And in the payback step, we basically get more amount of ATP. We are investing some ATP in the preparatory phase, and we are getting a large amount of ATP back in the payback stage. Now, this is the structure of glucose. You have all studied this in details. The first reaction of the preparatory phase, which is the first reaction of glycolysis, is this glucose molecule needs to be phosphorylated. This glucose molecule needs to be phosphorylated. At which position does glucose get phosphorylated? The glucose gets phosphorylated at the 6th position, at this position. Okay, so glucose gets phosphorylated at this position. Now, you need a donor of phosphate group over here. Who acts as the donor of phosphate group? ATP behaves as the donor of the phosphate group. So this phosphate group basically comes from ATP. And if ATP loses one phosphate, what will happen? It will form ADP. So this is the first ATP that gets consumed in the preparatory phase, that gets invested in the preparatory phase. Okay. Now, what is the enzyme which performs this function? Over here you have hexokinase. We have already learned that any enzyme which catalyzes the transfer of a phosphate group is known as a kinase enzyme. And over here it is a hexokinase. Why? Because it transfers the molecule of phosphate into a hexose sugar. Okay, a specific type of hexokinase is involved over here, since this is glucose, and over here the specific type of hexokinase that gets involved is glucokinase. Okay, so now glucose basically gets converted into glucose 6-phosphate. So this is the first step. The second step of glycolysis basically involves the isomerization of glucose 6-phosphate into fructose 6-phosphate. Okay, so we have glucose 6-phosphate with us. Let me draw it for you. and this will now get converted into fructose 6-phosphate. We have already discussed the structure of each of these molecules in great details when we were talking about when we were studying biomolecules. So basically, glucose 6-phosphate gets converted into fructose 6-phosphate. Okay. So over here we see that an aldose sugar gets converted into a ketose sugar. Let's have a look at the third reaction that takes place. See, we have fructose 6-phosphate with us. Now, in the third step, you involve another ATP molecule. Okay, so the first ATP molecule gets involved in the first reaction. Okay, it gets invested in the first reaction. Another ATP molecule gets invested over here. So if another ATP molecule gets invested over here, you can understand that you need another kinase molecule over here. What is this? This is a fructose molecule. This is fructose 6-phosphate. It is phosphofructose. So what will be the name of the enzyme over here? Definitely, since it involves ATP, it involves a transfer of phosphate group. So it is going to be a kinase, and this is a phosphofructose. So the name of the enzyme will be phosphofructokinase. So the name of the enzyme is phosphofructokinase, which is known as PFK. What does it do? It catalyzes the transfer of this phosphate group at this position number 1. Okay, the fructose molecule already had a phosphate at the 6th position, and now it also gains another phosphate group at the 1st position. So what will be the name of this compound that's formed? It is going to be fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Why? Because it has 2 molecules of phosphate attached to it. So, by the end of the preparatory phase, we can see that the glucose molecule basically gets converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, and 2 molecules of ATP are involved, or 2 molecules of ATP are invested in this phase. What is important for you to notice, this phosphofructokinase is also known as the pacemaker. This is also known as the pacemaker enzyme of this entire glycolysis reaction. Why? Because previously all these reactions are reversible reaction, but once phosphofructokinase acts on fructose 6-phosphate, the only fate that glucose molecule now has is glycolysis. It cannot move into any other reaction. So PFK basically, wholeheartedly dedicates glucose molecule into glycolysis. Okay, so now you have fructose 1,6-bisphosphate with you. This fructose 1,6-bisphosphate in the next reaction gets broken down. This fructose 1,6-bisphosphate gets broken down at this position. It gets broken down at this position. Okay. Who is the enzyme who is going to break down fructose 1,6-bisphosphate? The name of the enzyme is aldolase. The name of the enzyme is aldolase. It is going to break down this fructose 1,6-bisphosphate into this molecule. Please have a look. And into this molecule, this. Okay, what is the name of this molecule that gets formed? This is known as dihydroxyacetone phosphate, and this one is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. This is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Now, here you can appreciate and you can now understand the significance of the isomerization of glucose 6-phosphate into fructose 6-phosphate and its subsequent phosphorylation to form fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, because had this aldol cleavage occurred in this aldose glucose, a 2 carbon and a 4 carbon fragment would have resulted. Okay, but once this glucose moiety gets converted into fructose moiety, then the aldolase can act on this and it can, basically divide this into 2 3 carbon compounds, DHAP and GAP. right? Both of these are 3 carbon compounds, and the interesting thing is that these are interconvertible to each other. These are interconvertible to each other. So this DHAP molecule further now gets converted into GAP. Okay, this is the triose phosphate, this is also a triose phosphate. So what is the name of the enzyme? The name of the enzyme is triose phosphate isomerase. So the name of the enzyme is triose phosphate isomerase. So by the end of this reaction, what do we have? We see that fructose 1,6-bisphosphate gets broken down into dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, and this dihydroxyacetone phosphate again gets isomerized into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So here we basically have 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So by the end of this phase, we see that one glucose molecule, I repeat, one glucose molecule, which is a 6-carbon compound, gets broken down into 2 glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, which is a 3-carbon compound. So one 6-carbon compound gets broken down into 2 3-carbon compounds. The preceding steps in glycolysis have transformed one molecule of glucose into 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. But we have seen that till now no amount of ATP is produced. Rather, 2 molecules of ATP is invested into this. We have seen that no ATP is produced. Rather, 2 molecules of ATP is required for the conversion of glucose into 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. We now come to the payback stage of glycolysis. Whereby this 2 glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate undergoes a few more reactions, which ultimately leads to the production of ATP. And in the previous steps, we have also seen that glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is on the direct path of glycolysis, whereas dihydroxyacetone phosphate is not. So until and unless a mean exists to convert dihydroxyacetone phosphate into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, the 3-carbon fragment useful for generating ATP will be completely lost. So basically DHAP is converted into GAP, and it's this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate which undergoes the rest of the reactions. So over here, what happens is you have glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate with you. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate initially gets dehydrogenated, it gets oxidized. Now this happens in presence of NAD+. NAD+ basically acts as an oxidizing agent, and itself it gets converted into NADH plus H+. Okay, so NAD+ converts the aldehydic moiety that is present over here into an acidic moiety. Okay, so NAD helps in the oxidation of this aldehyde into an acid, and in the subsequent step, which occurs at the same time, basically there is an inorganic phosphate which gets added over here. So this reaction basically leads to the addition of another phosphate group to this molecule, and now it's going to be known as 1,3,1 and 3 bisphosphoglyceraldehyde. It's going to be known as 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid. Now this 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate is an acyl phosphate, which is a mixed anhydride of phosphoric acid, and carboxylic acid. Such compounds have a high phosphoryl transfer potential. And in fact, in the subsequent steps, you are going to observe that one of its phosphoryl groups gets transferred to ADP, which leads to the production of ATP. So basically, I am preparing glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate by the addition of another phosphate group for the production of ATP. Now this 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate is a high energy molecule, and this 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate can be used to power the synthesis of ATP from ADP. Okay, so see over here you have an extra phosphate group. What basically happens is that another molecule of ADP gets converted into ATP by the addition of this phosphate group. So by taking this phosphate group, a molecule of ADP gets converted into ATP. And now, what is the enzyme which catalyzes the transfer of the phosphate group from 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate into ADP? Of course, it will be a kinase. And this was a phosphoglycerate, so the name of the enzyme will be phosphoglycerate kinase. So the name of the enzyme is phosphoglycerate kinase. So in the payback stage, we observe that glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate which is an aldehyde, gets oxidized into 3-phosphoglycerate. It gets oxidized into 3-phosphoglycerate, which is a carboxylic acid. Okay, this is the first thing that happens till now. The second thing that happens is, we have seen NAD plus gets oxidized into NADH. And we have also seen that ATP is formed from Pi and ADP at the expense of carbon oxidation energy. Okay, at the expense of carbon oxidation energy. Please note that over here, this Pi does not come from ATP. It comes from the inorganic pool of phosphate. Now we have this 3-phosphoglycerate with us. This 3-phosphoglycerate, what happens is that it undergoes an isomerization reaction. This phosphate group gets transferred at this position. It's at the third position. Now it gets transferred at the second position. So I can say that this gets transferred at the second position, and this gets transferred at the second position, and now 3-phosphate will become 2. This 3-phosphoglycerate becomes 2-phosphoglycerate. So you have 2-phosphoglycerate with you. I'll draw this for you once again. O, P, this H. We have this molecule with us. Now this molecule of 2-phosphoglycerate basically loses a molecule of water. It loses a molecule of water, and once it loses the molecule of water, it becomes COO minus COP. So a double bond gets formed over here. It loses a molecule of water, so a double bond gets formed over here, and this is it. This is known as phosphoenol pyruvate. This is known as phosphoenol pyruvate. Now you can see that this phosphoenol pyruvate has this extra phosphate group, so it has a high phosphate group transfer potential. So now what happens is that this phosphate group now gets transferred on top of another ADP molecule, and it gets converted into ATP. Okay, so let's have a look what happens. So we have, it becomes COO minus C double bond O CH3. So this is pyruvic acid for you. Pyruvate. Okay. Now let's have an overview. We had glucose with us. Glucose gets converted into glucose 6-phosphate. What is the enzyme? Hexokinase. You require one molecule, you invest one molecule of ATP over here. And now glucose 6-phosphate is being isomerized into fructose 6-phosphate. Now, what will be the name of the enzyme? It is phosphoglucose isomerase. Now this fructose 6-phosphate, with the help of the enzyme phosphofructokinase, it gets converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Of course, another molecule of ATP gets involved over here. So this was the initial stages of glycolysis, where 2 molecules of ATP are required, and then we saw that this fructose 1,6-bisphosphate gets broken down into dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, whereby this DHAP again gets converted into GAP, and now this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, with the help of the enzyme dehydrogenase, and you require NAD+, which gets converted into NADH, and the inorganic pool of phosphate, it gets converted into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. Then you have, now from here the payback starts. So what happens over here, from 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, an ADP gets converted into ATP. This is the first time we get an ATP, and 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate gets converted into 3-phosphoglycerate. And what is the enzyme over here? Phosphoglycerate kinase. Okay, now 3-phosphoglycerate, with the help of the enzyme 3-phosphoglycerate mutase, gets converted into 2-phosphoglycerate, and then with the help of another enzyme enolase, and here obviously there is a loss of water molecule, it gets converted into phosphoenol pyruvate, and with the help of pyruvate kinase, another molecule of ATP is formed over here, and PP gets converted into pyruvate. Now please note, over here all of these reactions happen twice. Why? Because you have two molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, one directly and another one from DHAP, which gets converted into GAP. So in the preparatory phase, two molecules of ATP are required, and over here for each molecule of GAP, two molecules of ATP is produced, and of course there are two molecules of GAP, so 2 into 2, that means 4 molecules of ATP is actually produced. So 2 molecules of ATP are utilized and 4 molecules of ATP are produced, which leads to a net gain of 2 ATP molecules. So basically glucose, one molecule of glucose, which is a 6-carbon molecule, gets converted into 2 molecules of pyruvate, which is a 3-carbon molecule, and while everything is happening, there is a net gain of 2 molecules of ATP, and of course 2 molecules of NADH, 2 molecules of ATP, 2 molecules of NADH, and of course 2 molecules of water is released in the entire process.